Jeff Seder from EQB Inc. That stands for Equine Biomechanics and Exercise Physiology Inc. Our website is eqb.com. And today I'm going to be talking about how to buy and sell a racehorse during this lockdown with the COVID virus and the technology related to that. Technology, as you know, has been getting better and better all the time lately. And I'm going to be talking about a variety of what we developed and what we use and have used successfully. But I think I'll start out with something that's just common sense, since you can't be there often to look at the horse in the auction on the breeze up. How do you use a video the most effectively? So I think I'll start with a video that we've created. An important concept here is that it's important how they go fast, not just how fast they go. The stopwatch is helpful, but there's a lot of things that ways a horse can go fast that are not safe. He won't stand training, or he won't be able to carry the speed and distance of any race, even if it looks great for a furlong or two in a
This video demonstrates the value of slow-motion films at 2-year-old in training auctions of thoroughbred racehorses. The 5 horses shown were all bought at the same auction by a well-respected, experienced horseman who buys millions of dollars of young racehorses every year, including the most expensive horse at this select, well-known auction in 2001. This Glitterman colt sold for $72,000. His left front leg curled more than average, at times appearing to hit his elbow. Once a horse attains racing speeds and has that momentum, the motion of the limbs consumes the most energy. Inefficiency in this area is worth noting. Extraneous limb motion can also have soundness consequences. This explosive red colt sold for $15,000. His front legs winged out in a looping pattern that was clearly evident on the slow-motion films, especially after he changed leads. These kinds of inefficiencies at racing speeds are often unpredictable from the conformation and the walk you'll see back at the barn, which may seem perfect. This Thunder Gulch colt sold for $270,000 and was the sale topper. He had good action. There was some extraneous motion in his left front leg. This smoked Lacken filly sold for $24,000. She used a rotary gallop for several strides in the middle of her workout. That's when the footfall pattern sequence of legs used goes around the horse in a circle. This is how horses change lead and a common way for them to accelerate, especially out of the starting gate. Young, inexperienced horses often stay in a rotary gallop for an extended number of strides after changing leads. While there's nothing wrong with this gait pattern, it is not at all representative of what will be a horse's racing action, and that's important for a potential buyer to know. Without slow motion film, this pattern can be hard to spot, even for an expert. This Pentelicus colt sold for $29,000. His right foreleg hit his right rear leg especially hard at one point, causing him to drag his foreleg forward. These problems can sometimes be fixed, but there is the additional risk of starting out with such problems, especially if there are other horses the buyer is equally interested in. Monarchos, the 2000 Kentucky Derby winner, was filmed when he was for sale as an unraced 2-year-old. He had an exceptional gait with a long stride and little wasted motion. He also had an exceptional cardiovascular system. He is the perfect example of the kind of horse that EQB's technologies cannot fail to find and to reliably identify as a superior candidate for purchase. EQB has researched and pioneered commercial gait analysis for 25 years. EQB's services extend beyond the simple visual analysis provided in this film. EQB digitizes data from each filming for scientific biomechanical gait analysis to better understand each horse's stride characteristics, including stride length, stride frequency, extension, and other gait parameters. EQB also measures horses' cardiovascular systems with ultrasound, in addition to offering a variety of traditional bloodstock services. We hope you enjoyed this revealing review of one experienced buyer's selections at a thoroughbred auction. and we hope these films demonstrate the benefits of slow-motion film analysis as a buying tool. You can imagine what the films of purchases by inexperienced buyers look like. There were 500 horses sold alongside those we just viewed. Slow-motion film and gait analysis actually helped our clients to narrow selections down to those with the greatest odds of success. If you would like to learn more about the study of gait analysis or about EQB, please call us at 800-223-7014 or visit our website at www.eqb.com.
An important concept here is that it's important how they go fast, not just how fast they go. The stopwatch is helpful, but there's a lot of things that ways a horse can go fast that are not safe. He won't stand training, or he won't be able to carry the speed and distance of any race, even if it looks great for a furlong or two in a. Let's answer the question. The first question is, how do I know what I'm talking about? I've been in this business for 40 years of selecting elite racehorses, when they're unraced as youngsters at public auctions. I worked for 6 of the major racing stables in the United States. We've bought 42 Grade 1 stakes winners as unraced youngsters, horses that have won 42 Grade 1 stakes as youngsters at public auctions, often for not very much money. We've been part of the program that produced the first Triple Crown winner in the United States in 37 years. We've published numerous papers in refereed scientific journals, the major ones, working and with studies designed and executed with us by luminaries in their field, from biomechanics, exercise physiology, Triple Crown winning trainers, engineering, etc., from Harvard, MIT, University of Pennsylvania Veterinary School, the United States Olympic Committee, Sports Medicine Committee, and that sort of thing. What else could I say? This is not just the work of some enthusiast or some veterinarian with no specific training in any specialty. So on what's practical and available, in my opinion, today I'm going to be I've already shown you the gait analysis digitized. We're going to be talking about heart scanning and internal organ scanning, which we're published in scientific journals and have a lot of experience in patents, and about confirmation, digitized kind of stuff, confirmation quantified. So we'll kind of range around, including those technologies. When I talk about our results, I want to emphasize that the graded stakes is not the same as a regular stakes race. They're the 100 most difficult and prestigious races in the world, identified by an international commission and accredited. They are a tiny percentage of all the stakes races, so when we tell you our track record is, in terms of graded stakes, it's very different than somebody quoting their track record as just stakes races. And of the 42 Grade 1 stakes that we've won, which are races like World Championships and the Kentucky Derby, the most recent one was last week with a horse that we bought as a weanling at auction for $60,000. This is also very different than quoting statistics from some supposed list of recommendations. I mean, they'll give you a list of like 20% of an auction and say they recommended them, and then tell you how, but you can't buy 20% of the auction without going broke. So it's not the same as actually figuring out which horse to buy. It's not close to the same. It's also a bad idea to have someone who hasn't got special training in whatever the technology's field is to execute the services for you. You need a trained technician to get reproducible results with a heart scan. You can't just have somebody who read a scientific paper and goes out and does it and only does a couple a year. We do thousands a year with our technicians. We've proven that we're reproducible. We understand, we invented the equipment, we understand it. That's really a very important part of the whole thing. There's a lot of the technologies that are out there offered by people without the experience, without the training. and they get the wrong results. I'd like to mention a few other things, stuff that's out there pretending to be technology. There are people who will tell you how to breed your horse based on biomechanics. Originally, one of the things that was done was there was a program out there called Morph, where you could morph a dog and a cat and see what the picture looked like, and you could choose the percentage of dog and of cat to use, and or you could do your face with a cat. And they were applying that to the stallion and the mare, and then suggesting that that's what the foal would look like. This is based on absolutely nothing. And people are still paying for it. Good people, smart people, educated people. It's amazing. Another one, they've got all kinds of biomechanical graphs and charts, and it's not based on any refereed research. And it's one of them, they started with really good racing mares, older mares, and then they extrapolated what they would look like, their bone lengths and angles, based on research that had been done on cow bones, and to what they would look like as a yearling. And then they used that on yearlings to say what they would look like as a racehorse, and neglected to mention that methodology when they sold it to major racing stables. DNA is another problem. DNA is so complicated, so complex. There's so much going on in what turns genes on and off and how they change. And finding markers is interesting, but it's the interpretation of it is really tricky. And the idea that the speed gene, which was a gene about a condition that caused precocious muscling, becoming muscled up earlier, it was the be-all and end-all, is, I think, ridiculous. So I've talked long enough. If you want the very specifics of the technology and the research, you want to see that video on the gait analysis, again, it's all at our website, EQB as in boy, EQB.com. And I recommend you take a look at it there. And thank you for this opportunity to share some thoughts. I want to add a specific note about traditional horsemanship, that you do not want to be overriding or ignoring the advice of successful, experienced traditional horsemen. Everything we do is supposed to be adding on to that, or maybe qualifying it. Often what we pick at an auction is a subset of what the experienced horseman picks, not something from out of the blue that contradicts them. And a good racehorse is a combination of many traits, and you need more than one technology and more than one criteria to decide who it is you want to buy. Our studies, we did thousands and thousands of real racehorses at real racetracks over 10, 15 years to get our data, is another point. So, it isn't just somebody's newsletter or their theory. And we did include major successful, well-known racehorse trainers in the design and the execution of the studies. Finally, please feel free to email me or call me and to ask any questions about these technologies.